Well, hello there, and thank you for joining with me with another episode of Let's Draw with Legacy717 Studios. My name is Jeremy Cooper, and through this series that I produce, I like to showcase when I work digitally in Photoshop, where I'm working on line art, coloring, inks, whatever pretty much is on my mind, through a series of time lapses to kind of show my process and how I work. And recently, I got requested by one of my artisan cohorts to do a coloring over the Mario study I did recently and everything. So that's what you're going to see in this episode, pretty much on how I do my colorings, because I do shell shading, and I'm going to kind of go over that process with you a little bit as the video progresses. Also too, this is a new experiment for me, whereas if you've seen any of my other videos, I have a lot of animals and there's sound going on all the time. So I'm going to see if this works and see if I can just kind of do it in real time, since I'm not able to stream like I would like to, so you can see the process. So, but let's go. But, again, I'm rambling. So let's stop it right there and let's do some art. Okay. So at the beginning here, what I was trying to showcase very quickly, since the time lapse is sped really up, because this took a little bit longer than 9 minutes to do, was I'm using a hard round basic brush to kind of put my flats and stuff down, as you can see. And I'm more like painting it on there or coloring it in like you would with the crayons or coloring book. And I know if you have any experience in dealing with digital work or whatever, when you do flats per se, which is just the basic color that has no tones or shadows or anything like that, what you have is that some people prefer to make selections, and they're like, take the selection tool or the magic wand and they're select what they're coloring and stuff, or then they'll use like the paint bucket to fill it in real quick. And I've done stuff like that in the past, but when I go to print it or I would look at it later, I realized there were like spots that were missing because it's raster. So it's all pixelated, because what we're actually seeing as the screen changes there is it's all squares. So I thought it'd be better over time, the way I do it is try to zoom in really close, clean it up, put the flats on it, and so that's what you're going to see, and what you are seeing, I should say, right here, what I'm doing. And I'm got rid of the background, because since that color was white and I wouldn't be able to see it since I had that white background it was sitting on, this allows me to, when I get rid of the background, to see what colors I'm missing, if it's running over to things, if it's like not good enough. And if you see in Mario's eye right there on the left, there's some of it I can even show you right there where I didn't fill in the eye enough during my inks. There's a little bit of a blotch there, so that's another reason why I zoom in close when I do like my coloring and stuff, because I try to fix kind of the things I miss. And in the samples you saw, there was all those dots around Mario. It was basically like a reference of what my colors could be and which ones I was used. And they were pretty close for the most part, but there were a couple of them that I must have sampled the wrong things. So you're kind of going to see me be like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. And kind of change that and everything. If you also look in above, there's a Archie Mario comic series in the other tab, and that's where I was sampling my color from, which was done by an artist I really like. He usually does Sonic, but they had tried to, at the time, Archie, I believe it was, they were trying to get them to allow them to do like a Mario comic book, and that was kind of like the thing they were using. But it never happened. But it was a great little piece, and it's great to sample from. But that's kind of the problem when you sample images from the internet, or from pictures or whatever. You can sometimes sample things that don't work, so you might have to make adjustments and stuff, or you did like I did and I sampled the wrong thing because I wasn't paying attention or whatever. So, but that's okay, because you can redo stuff and put it there. But as you can see, I'm still just putting stuff down, and one of the things I do for really big pieces is that are really, really big spots like Mario's hat here, I fill in all the way around, so I can use the paint bucket tool to quickly fill that in. It doesn't always work, and then I still have to go back and color stuff and everything, but that's what I'm pretty much doing here. I'm creating basically, if you think of it as a sphere or a circle or an enclosed shape around the object, so I can fill it in quickly instead of having to do it all by hand. But I do like the process of doing it by hand. It's like I said, it's like you're coloring it, or you're using Prisma markers, and I came originally from a traditional background, so It was more how I felt about doing stuff and everything. So I found what works for me. And that's why I tell people, you know, if you get any kind of training or you're working on things, and I apologize for my dog beating on my door. That if you're fortunate enough to gain training or you're getting stuff offline, watching videos like this, you know, they're not going to be able to tell you everything, and what you see may not work for you. My suggestion to you, as every other artist that I have worked with and on my own artistic journey, is find what works for you. See what works, try different techniques out. Like I said, I used to do selections and I was taught that way. And it just wasn't something that I perfectly would do. Now, if I need to, I will. But it was a skill set that I had to learn to know where I needed to go and how I do my process. And for people who don't know me, too, and for you guys who might be joining me with the first time and seeing any of my work, one of the things too, the reason why I choose cell shading isn't just because I'm a child of the 80s and I love cell shading and I love animation. It's also because I see everything in lines. I don't really see shadows and tones, where that's kind of one of my weaknesses. You know, doing flats like this, it's really easy for me because it's like, oh, there's the lines. I just put a basic color down and everything. So when you see my next video, if you were watching, when I get to the tones part, you're going to see how like I pop everything down and I kind of have to play with it until I'm happy. But again, let me just point out another thing. Right there in next to the little strap that I'm near, there's that one little gap between the strap and the ink line and Mario's hand. Now, I did see it, and I probably was like, oh, I gotta go back and color in. Oh, there it is. So it was like, nope, that's not the right color. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Is like, you know, for some reason I missed that, and that's okay. We make mistakes, we screw up. You're not gonna get it perfect every time, and that's the whole part of the journey. And that's what the journey has been to me, you know. And then as I'm saying, it's like, whoop, I got the wrong color again, let me go. It's like, what am I doing? And then I also realized that I missed Mario's other sideburn there. Like, oh, well, how did I do that? And if you still notice, I haven't put the white in the pupils of his eyes yet. Oh, there you go. Now I'm doing it. So, and that's kind of the way we all, I don't know, for most of us, you know, I bounce around and I kind of go where whatever I feel and how I do stuff. And I really do enjoy like painting like this, and that's in a sense. And considering I've been practicing more and more, trying to get better at painting, to really push myself to rely less online. And it's still a process that I'm not willing to show just yet. Because I'm not happy with it. But I do love cell shading, and I think for some people it's, oh, this is really easy, cell shading is easy, and yeah, to a degree it could be, but I think you should do what you really enjoy doing. I'm very passionate about cell shading and coloring and animation because that was my goal as a child. You know, growing up, I wanted my stuff to look like this, I wanted to look like that. You know, I wanted to look like the Mega Man game I was playing on the Super Nintendo. I wanted to look like the animation from animes like Akira. You know, that's what my drive was. And, you know, okay, here we go again. So the question mark is, wait a minute, did I select ours? Yep, yeah, I did. It's like, let me fix that. Just to give you a little insight. And even on the other one is a shadow. That white you're seeing there is a shadow. I was thinking I might go a little bit grayer, a little bit light gray on Mario's hands instead of using pure white, but I changed my mind. So, and I used that for something else. But like I said, with these whole flats, because there's not much else to really say to me besides, you know, what you're basically seeing. And this is kind of like the first time I've ever done something like this. I've done live streams and stuff before, but my computer usually, like I said earlier, craps out and it can't handle the processing power, unfortunately. So I try to, which was really fun to kind of do it in real time. But in a video like this, at least I can show you kind of like what I'm doing. Now, as you can see, I'm going through the whole process of just checking, hey, where are those little spots I missed? Okay, there's one. You know, where did I not get the color fully in? Is there any other location? Stuff like that. And that's pretty much my flats. So, and that's the way it works. So now the background's back, you see it pops a little bit, you know, and just to show you like the difference and stuff on it. Well, thank you for joining with me with this episode and everything, and I hope that I was helpful in some way with my rambling with you, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. And look forward to the next series of this episode where I'll be showcasing tones and the shadows for this character here. All right, you guys have a great day, and thank you for watching. And remember, be good to each other and never stop dreaming.